Hello, I'm Guy Daniels, Director of Content at TelecomTV, and welcome to our Strategy Outlook series on Service Management and Orchestration, the keys to Open RAN success. This is the third in our series of programs produced in partnership with Ericsson. In the first show, we looked at the emergence of Open RAN and the role of Cloud RAN. In our second, we took a closer look at the market opportunities of Open RAN. In this, our third and final program, we are broadcasting live and want to hear from you. So any questions you have on the topics raised in this series, then please submit them now. And the sooner the better. We'll try and get through as many of them as we can. And helping me do that, we have a panel of guests who will be with us throughout this 90-minute show. Let me briefly introduce them now. From London, we are joined by Neil McRae, Chief Architect and MD, Architecture and Strategy, BT Group, and by James Crawshaw, Principal Analyst, Telco IT and Operations at Omdia. And from Stockholm in Sweden, we are joined by P.O. Lehto, VP and Head of Solution Area OSS at Ericsson, and Pedro Souza, Strategic Product Manager, Cloud RAN for Ericsson. Good to see you all. Looking forward to discussing service management and orchestration with you later during the show. Now, as well as answering questions from our viewers, we'll be speaking to a number of Ericsson executives and partners, delving deeper into Open RAN, the RIC, and the emerging RAPS ecosystem. Now, earlier today, we had the announcement of the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform. In a moment, we'll be taking a more detailed look at this innovation. But first, let's hear from P.O. Lehto in Stockholm. P.O., before we move on to take a closer look at Open RAN, can you tell us more about your role in Ericsson Digital Services?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm leading the solution area OSS, operational and support systems in Ericsson. And what we do is to provide our customers with the help in the digital transformation journey that they're all on. And that includes providing solutions, cloud native software and support for network management end-to-end, orchestration, analytics and assurance, and above all, helping our customers to automate their networks.
Given its long history and leading market position in the radio access network, Ericsson isn't a company you'd naturally think about in terms of Open RAN. So why has service management and orchestration become an important topic for you?
Yeah, there are several things that comes together, I think. If you look at our customers' networks, there is a growing demand for more performance from the networks, both for consumer as well as for enterprise services. If that is streaming from a football game or if it's attending a critical Teams meeting, all of these new services are demanding more and more from the networks. At the same time, we also see that our customers, they need to sweat the assets and investments they've done in the 4G and 5G part of the networks. And if you add to this what's now happening with new radio access technologies coming and a growing number of vendors in the industry around Open RAN, we think it's fundamental that our customers is taking a holistic approach on how to manage and how to orchestrate their networks of the future. We think the combination of an automation solution for the existing purpose-built for 4G and 5G networks, as well as the Open RAN, that is the way for our operators to become successful. Hence the launch of the Intelligent Automation Platform today. We think it's a fundamental thing to look holistically and not just at the new Open RAN that is coming. So we are really excited about the launch today. We think that what we are providing is something that will make a big difference, driving openness in the industry, as well as providing innovation capabilities for our customers. And that's what we try to achieve here.
We'll come back to this holistic approach later in the program. But what many of our viewers may not appreciate is that Ericsson is a major contributor to Open RAN. How important is openness for Ericsson?
Yeah, we have always embraced openness and as well an evolution to more open network architectures. If we look at Open RAN, I think it's evident from Ericsson's Cloud RAN portfolio that we see the benefits here. We are focusing there on the disaggregation of software and hardware, cloudification, and open automation and orchestration. We've been in the telecom industry for 145 years, helping our customers to innovate and stay very close to them. We will continue to do so, trying to help our customers to serve their needs of higher performing networks with very cost efficient operations and security. And that we intend to continue to do going forward, building on open interoperable global standards.
Thanks, Pio, and we'll speak with you again shortly during our panel discussion. Don't forget, though, we want to hear from you. So send in your questions about Open RAN, Cloud RAN, and Service Management and Orchestration. There's a form on the website just below this video player window. As I mentioned earlier, today saw the official announcement of the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform. To explain more, here's Justin Paul, OSS Senior Solutions Marketing Manager at Ericsson, speaking with TelecomTV's Editorial Director, Ray Lemaitre.
Ericsson has always said it would play a role in the Open RAN sector when the time was right. And that time appears to be now, as it has an interesting new product announcement to share. To find out more about this, I'm talking today with Justin Paul, Senior Solutions Marketing Manager, OSS at Ericsson. So, Justin, can you tell us about the new product? And then we'll chat again after you've shared all of the salient details. So, over to you.
Thanks, Ray. Today, Ericsson's announcing the launch of the Intelligent Automation Platform. The Intelligent Automation Platform is Ericsson's implementation of the O-RAN Alliance's Service Management and Orchestration entity, or SMO. And this is in line with the O-RAN Alliance architecture. The Intelligent Automation Platform is an important part of our story around the evolution of radio access networks. In addition to significant functionality around automation and orchestration, the Intelligent Automation Platform includes a non-real-time radio intelligent controller, or RIC. It supports an open R1 interface, and it's designed to run Ericsson, communication service provider, and other third-party RAPs. And we see this as a single pane of glass for the intelligent automation of any mobile network. The platform also includes an RAP software development toolkit, or an SDK. The SDK is an important part of the launch because this is the toolkit that enables easy and rapid development of RAPs by anybody. The kit contains interfaces, APIs, instructions, automated test kits, and perhaps most importantly, template applications, which really help you build new apps quickly and efficiently. Ericsson's using this SDK to actually fly our own jets, and we've ported and upgraded some of our existing network deployment and network optimization apps to become RAPs. In addition to our new RAPs, you're going to hear from software companies Infovista and VIAVI about what they're doing in this space and the RAPs they plan to launch in the near future. So what's unique about Ericsson's vision is that we extend service management and orchestration functionality beyond just Open RAN to handle RAN automation and orchestration across Ericsson purpose-built networks, third-party purpose-built networks, and any Cloud RAN or Open RAN network technology. The Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform supports open O1, O2, A1, and R1 interfaces. And this means the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform is open, it's multi-vendor, and it's multi-technology, by which we mean it supports both Open RAN technologies and existing 4G and 5G purpose-built RAN technologies. The benefit of this approach is that you don't need multiple SMOs in your network, one for each RAN vendor or each technology type. And this is absolutely key for decreasing complexity. It also means that whether you're an early adopter of Open RAN technologies and have enthusiastic plans for Open RAN rollout, or you're taking a more conservative approach to the technology, the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform supports your choice. We believe that the ability to support multiple technologies is a key enabler for the adoption of Open RAN. Another important benefit of multi-vendor, multi-technology approach is that key RAPs can be deployed across the entire network, whatever your mix of technologies. Within Ericsson, we see 4 categories of RAPs: network evolution, network deployment, network optimization, and of course, network healing. As part of the Intelligent Automation Platform announcement, we're launching a number of network optimization and network deployment RAPs that demonstrate the platform's capability. These apps have been built, or in some cases ported and upgraded, using the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform SDK. And we call this flying our own jets. And what you'll see is many of our new RAPs will be new versions of Ericsson's existing CSON and network design and optimization applications. And they're designed to work across both Open RAN technologies and existing purpose-built RAN networks. The new Ericsson RAPs will run on the Intelligent Automation Platform's non-real-time RIC, which is the execution environment. But the expectation, and this is really important to the industry, is that these RAPs will run on any R1 interface compliant non-real-time RIC. It means the applications are portable. In addition, we fully expect that the SDK will actually drive RAP innovation, and we expect to announce new communication service providers and third-party RAPs developed using our SDK in the very near future. So drilling down to the RAPs we're announcing today, the 3 RAPs are centralized 5G automatic neighbor relations, which is about establishment of cell neighbor relations based on lots of different measurements and detection parameters. But the upshot is when you put a new network component into the network and switch it on, it automatically works out what frequencies it ought to be on and how it talks to all the other cells. We've got frequency layer management, and this is an intent-based improvement of user experience by balancing traffic between different frequency layers. And last, but by no means least, we've got performance diagnostics. This is an AI-powered automatic cell issue classification and root cause analysis function, and it provides RAN performance improvement across the entire RAN network architecture. So that's it in a nutshell. We're announcing the launch of our new Intelligent Automation Platform, an open, multi-vendor, multi-technology service management and orchestration platform for intelligently automating and orchestrating any mobile network. The platform has a comprehensive SDK, and we're also announcing our initial field-proven RAPs, with the expectation of more RAPs to come, both from Ericsson and third parties. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thanks, Justin. A really interesting development there. Can you talk about what is different about this service management and orchestration solution?
Yeah, I think what's different about this solution is that we've taken the SMO concept and we've extended it beyond the realms of Open RAN to address the existing purpose-built RAN networks. And why that's important is because today only about 2% of networks are Open RAN and 98% are existing purpose-built RAN networks. So by doing that, we actually provide an automation and orchestration capability across 100% of the networks today.
And why is the SDK, the software development toolkit, an important part of this launch?
Yeah, the SDK is a bit of the jewel in the crown within the Intelligent Automation Platform because it really accelerates the ability to build and deploy and monetize RAPs. We're using it internally within Ericsson to build RAPs, and we expect service providers to take it and use it to build things to match their own circumstances. But also we expect to build an ecosystem of new developers and new partners who come into the market to build apps based on their own data sets and skills that allow them to do some really cool and innovative things in this domain. So the SDK is absolutely critical for kickstarting that ecosystem and the new developers.
Why was it important to launch a number of Ericsson RApps at the same time? And how did Ericsson decide which ones to develop first?
Thanks, Ray. I think that's a really interesting question. The true value of the intelligent automation platform comes from the RApps that run on it. And we thought it was really important that when we launched the platform, we had RApps there to prove the concept. In terms of developing RApps themselves, the ones we've gone to market with, some of that's for us flying our own jets. We've used the SDK to build and enhance new RApps and bring those to market. We've also, as you'd imagine, had conversations with customers, and some of the applications you've seen today and we'll see in the next weeks and months will be those based on conversations with customers, meeting their requirements. And that's it in a nutshell. We wanted to make sure the platform had RApps to really prove the concept from day one.
Okay, excellent. Well, there's no doubt that the whole area of SMO and the RAN intelligent controller is absolutely critical to the development of the O-RAN ecosystem. So really interesting to hear what Ericsson is launching here today. Justin, thanks very much for joining us and sharing what Ericsson is doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Always a pleasure.
Networks, as we know them, are evolving. As with all evolution, there is a choice. Will you stay behind or take the opportunity to leap forward into a new age of operational efficiency where machine learning and artificial intelligence transform the complexity of network management into a simple, cost-efficient and automated task? Where innovation is free of borders and boundaries and collaborative ecosystems flourish and thrive. And where the network reshapes itself to meet the needs of the customer, intelligently adapting from 1 second to the next. Multi-vendor, multi-technology, innovation, experience. Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform. Any mobile network, intelligently automated.
And there you have it. Justin Paul updating us on the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform. And we would love to hear what you think. So please get in touch as soon as you can. In the meantime, let's find out the views of our studio guests, Neil McRae, James Crawshaw, Pio Lehto, and Pedro Souza. Hello, everyone. Again, thanks so much for taking part in our live program today. Now, as we've just heard, Ericsson has announced the launch of its SMO solution. James, let me put this first question to you. How important is an announcement like this?
Well, for Ericsson, it's obviously quite important. I think for the industry at large, this is it's an interesting development. It's still quite early days in terms of the adoption and implementation of Open RAN. This service management and orchestration component is still quite nascent, as is the non-real-time RIC. So there aren't many solutions out there, and Ericsson's one of the first companies to really vocalize and explain how they're going to address these components. So yeah, it's an interesting development from an analyst perspective.
Yeah, thanks, James. And Neil, as James has just said, this early days. But from your CSP position, what's the significance of this announcement today?
Well, I think it's very significant. I think it shows that one, Ericsson as a vendor are listening to customers, and actually always have done, and we're kind of pushing the ability to make the network more and more programmable, and also, as I've mentioned many times before, automate the network in a way that future use cases will need. The network's so complex now, and your need to run it on a sub-millisecond basis means that the whole service management and orchestration area, not just for radio, which Ericsson cover part of this, but actually the wider context of running the whole network. And I think Ericsson have done a great job of bringing the programmability, the wider aspects of the mobile network and potentially even other networks, and the need to be able to program the network altogether in a way that looks very interesting. I read the SDK document, and it's pretty comprehensive. So we've got a few folks in our labs kind of looking at us thinking, okay, what could we do with this? And it really is kind of opening a way into working with Ericsson platforms and other Open RAN platforms that I don't think is as well defined as where Ericsson are today.
Thanks, Neil. Well, we're already receiving a lot of questions in from our audience, which is terrific, and please continue to send them in. So getting to the first viewer question of the day, the question mentions that Justin talked a lot in that video during the announcement about multi-vendor and multi-technology complexity. Why is this relevant? Pio, perhaps I could put that question to you first.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I mean, for the multi-technology, we have 4G, we have 5G, and we have the emerging Open RAN. I think to what I said before, it's fundamentally important that we look holistically and try to build solutions that goes across. Otherwise, you run the risk of only looking at the future and not really taking on the current challenges that customers do see with their networks of today. Multi-vendor aspects to that. Reality is that no one only have radio equipment from only one vendor, and if you are truly to drive automation and managing your networks end to end, you need to build multi-vendor solutions.
Thank you, Pio. And next question we've got in. Let me just pick a question. James, let me go to you first.
Sorry, I was just going to build on what was said. That essentially, what operators don't want, from what I've heard, is they don't want Open RAN to become yet another silo with its own management systems, completely independent from the rest of their network. They need this SMO to manage legacy as well as the new Open RAN. So I guess that's the answer to the multi-technology part.
Thanks, James, which leads us very nicely to another viewer question here, and that is, how can a management tool for Open RAN networks manage a legacy RAN? How is this actually possible? We've been talking for so long about the two being separate. How is it possible to use an Open RAN tool to manage legacy RAN? Any of our guests? Let's go back to James.
Sorry, I don't want to hog, but no, I had done some research into this recently. So what I could share from what I've been hearing from operators is essentially it's very similar to the way that centralized SON works today. So this management platform, the SMO, will talk to the element management systems of the Ericssons and their competitors, collect the information from the network, and then write back configuration changes in order to optimize or automate things. So that exists today, and it will also exist with the SMO. The SMO will be able to talk to traditional RAN as well as the Open RAN.
Thank you, James. Well, unless there's any other comments on that particular question, let's move on, because we have got a lot of questions in here. There's another question that is picking up on what Justin mentioned in that interview with Ray. Pedro, let me try and put this one to you first. Ericsson seems to be making a big thing about the SDK, yet SDKs are nothing new. So what makes this so special?
No, absolutely. That's a very good point. I mean, SDKs is nothing new. However, we need to put it here in context and see what is being presented. On one aspect is not only the SDK itself to make available interfaces and APIs for development, but it's also the support that is around it, the maturity that we give to our partners and customers. And we need also to have in mind that what we are presenting here is an SDK that is based on the open interfaces that are available and are being specified in the O-RAN Alliance. So this is fairly important. And also adding the complexity of adding, like my colleague and our panel guests here have mentioned, the addition of doing it for a multi-technology and a multi-vendor environment. I think these are some of the aspects that are being fleshed out here as new, and will become extremely relevant for our customers.
Thanks, Pedro. Let me look at the system here to pick up another question that is coming in from our audience. And Neil, I think this one is specifically, it was specifically addressed to you, and it suddenly vanished off my screen. Here it comes again. I've got it back. It's specifically addressed to you. As the RIC ecosystem evolves, as an operator such as BT, what are the key areas that you would want the RApps and XApps developers to focus on? So what are the key areas of interest to you?
So, yeah, I mean, a fantastic question. I've always believed Open RAN's more about innovation than it is about cost saving. So what I want are XApps and RApps that are going to allow us to run the network with as little resources as possible, automate it as much as possible. That allows us to then, as I call it, build more networkification into hospitals, into airports, into stadiums, into factories, into many locations where the network has struggled to reach before, because the network's going to be more reliable, it's going to work better, because all these XApps and RApps are running the network even better, but also bringing optimization of the radio coverage, the radio performance into these difficult to manage locations, and are really allowing then other application providers to bring new things into the world of healthcare, into the world of sports, into the world of industry. And without these sort of developments, we're kind of stuck at the door. We bang on the door, we can't get in. So I'm really hopeful that this sort of capability allows us to get into more places, more locations, and not just give people access to the internet, but actually make a difference to the way people work and play and the way people innovate. That's what this is really about for me.
Thanks, Neil. And as you've said previously, it all comes down to the customer and remembering the needs of the customer as being paramount. Pio, let's come across to you for some comments on this question.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you put these two questions together here, I think you have a really, really interesting mix, right? We talked about the SDK and what Neil is talking about, innovation. I think this is really one of the things here that we want to see. By providing the SDK, we would love to work with our customers to drive new type of innovations. We love to support Neil and his team to take it into the labs and drive things together. So that's I think the importance of the SDK in this context. Great, thanks, Pio. And Pedro.
Yes, I'd like to add one point to the discussion here that we believe it's fairly relevant. Whenever we talk to our customers, there's always in every department tools and a set of toolkits that are homegrown and that operators rely on it for management of the network, to introduce new services and test some new business opportunities in there. So connecting that with a platform that is multi-vendor, multi-technology, with the SDK and the support we provide, I think it also fosters this innovation environment and ecosystem that we're actually looking forward to see.
Great. Thanks very much, everyone, for your responses to that question. And still they're coming in. Here's a question I think we'll put to our Ericsson guests. Can this automation platform manage a Huawei network or a Nokia network, for instance, as well, or an Open RAN network built with Mavenir or Rakuten Symphony software? Pio, are you able to maybe take this one for us?
Yes. I mean, the intelligence automation platform comes with the support for any Open RAN network from whoever is the vendor, as long as it follows the interfaces. And like James was saying before, when it comes to the purpose-built RAN networks, it's nothing new. Centralized SON solutions today is working on top of the element management systems from multiple vendors. So by using that approach, yes, we can integrate with other vendors' radio equipment.
Great, thank you, Pio. I think we'll take a break from the viewer questions for now. As I say, there's a lot coming in, and we still want more from our audience. So please, you've got the opportunity, send them in. We do need to move on, so thanks everyone. We'll be back to continue our discussion very soon. Now, we heard earlier from Justin Paul about the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform. And to find out more and to get a detailed technical view, my colleague Rayla Matra also spoke with Ericsson's Patrick Bergerson and David Espadas.
An alternative way to assemble and manage mobile networks is emerging, driven by Open RAN developments. And key to any Open RAN based deployment is the software that enables automated management of the network. Now, to address that requirement, Ericsson has announced the launch of a new software product. And to find out more, I'm talking with Patrick Bergerson, Product Manager within Solution Area OSS at Ericsson, and his colleague David Espadas, who is Global Product Marketing Lead for OSS. So welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us today. David, what are the drivers behind this launch?
Well, Ericsson has been here for more than 140 years. We've been through all kinds of evolutions and revolutions, and we have this very long-term commitment to our customers very much to our heart. So we are very much used to keep our ear to the ground. And what we are getting from our customers is that they are exploring things like virtualization, cloud nativeness, openness, and disaggregation of their technology stacks, with the overall ambition of automating operations. So we want to support them in that journey through the free automation, while ensuring they are able to secure always the best performance from their network. So when we started creating this product and all the related offering, we had 4 main pillars that drive this strategy. And we think these actually tick all boxes of these, customer expectations and customer ambitions in this area. It's an open platform with open interfaces and a companion SDK that will act as a catalyzer for innovation in our customers' journey towards automation. And beyond these pillars, the most important input for our strategy is always the interaction with our customers. We have continuous conversations with communication service providers globally around these aspects. And the feedback we are getting is extremely positive, indicating that these drivers align very well with their strategic direction.
And David, how is the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform different from a pure implementation of the Service Management and Orchestration, or SMO, as defined by the O-RAN Alliance?
First, we are taking the O-RAN specification for this function, for Service Management and Orchestration, that we call SMO, and implementing those and even more. We are taking it one step forward with support for purpose-built RAN as well, so that the operator can reap the benefits of RAN automation and the RAPs from all their network from day one.
And Patrick, in what way will the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform be multi-vendor?
It is multi-vendor from 3 aspects. Firstly, when it comes to the applications that can be deployed on the platform, we will support applications developed by ourselves, of course, but also applications developed by our customers and by third-party application vendors as well. Secondly, when it comes to the integration towards surrounding OSS products, we are supporting integration there over standardized interfaces towards OSS and DSS products, such as resource orchestration or service assurance. And we are utilizing then the emerging open standards, of course, but also relying on things like ETSI and TMF and 3GPP. Last, it's a mediation of on the southbound side towards the RAN networks. There we support mediation of also third-party RAN networks over the O-RAN interfaces. And for radio access networks that does not implement those interfaces, we support integration via the EMS systems, for instance, utilizing agreements between vendors in the OSSII framework.
And how will this new automation platform fit into Ericsson's current software portfolio?
Ericsson's Intelligent Automation Platform is a new OSS offering, complementing existing products in the OSS suite. And it is targeted towards both purpose-built RAN and Cloud RAN, and it's aiming for 5G and 4G as well, building automation cases for that. It is developed in a cloud-native microservices-based architecture, and as such, it's modular with the aim to fit into different OSS environments at our customers.
So, Patrick, how can a potential developer interact with the platform to develop new RApps?
So an SDK will be offered together with the intelligent automation platform, and it will enable application developers then to quickly leverage on the platform services that are available in order to build and deploy applications. The SDK will provide capabilities such as helper libraries, debugging capabilities, documentation of APIs, example use cases. It will provide a basic Hello World application that will bring the user through the full process of development and deployment of an application. There will be best practices, documentation, build utilities, and sandbox to bring on board the application and validate that it will run and so on. In addition to the SDK, Ericsson provides its strong services capabilities, if so required, to support our customers, CSPs, partners, and other application developers with design, deployment, testing, and onboarding, and taking applications into the production system and making use of the value they bring.
And David, can you provide some more details on the RApps that Ericsson is launching today?
We are launching a number of RApps right now that will be increased in the coming months, and we are covering a wide spectrum of RAN automation use cases. For instance, in the area of network deployment, we have a centralized SON, self-organizing network application, with 5G centralized network relations for automatic reconfiguration of the network based on data from user equipment. On the area of network optimization, we have as well Frequency Layer Manager, which is for improving user experience dynamically, or a complete performance diagnostics RApp that leverages on AI and machine learning to analyze more than 150 KPIs per cell proactively for the complete network in minutes, identifying the issues and automatically providing root cause analysis. This number of RApps will be increasing in the coming months in different areas of not only deployment and optimization, but network evolution and network healing as well.
Okay, well, it's been great to find out about the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform today. Patrick, David, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ray Lemaitre there with Ericsson's Patrick Bergerson and David Espadas. Okay, back to our studio guests who are joining us live today. And don't forget, if you want to send in a question about anything you've heard on the show so far, then please do so. Don't wait too long because you may miss out. Well, let's say hello again to Pio and Pedro, who are joining us from Stockholm, and James and Neil from London. Question here from our audience. Pedro, let me direct this one to you first. There's a lot of talk about RApps, but what about XApps? Does Ericsson's solution ignore those?
I see your point, but let me explain it this way. We do see that RApps and the real-time RIC that is now introduced here in the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform are the sweet spots to be able to create this ecosystem of multi-vendor automation applications. This is where we can actually create and innovate more than it was before on the RAN domain. If I take just a few examples, perhaps, if we take the well-known and common example of being able to inject data from XLO systems, or also correlate the data that we're seeing coming from different domains in the network, we do see that we can use that information to enrich data and policies that we would pass into the RAN, and then therefore achieve a higher optimization of what we currently have deployed. Additionally, one other aspect is that we want to take care of the want to get the more time-sensitive radio resource management use cases. We wanted to leave it that to the underlying RAN software, because we do believe that the only way for us to still keep the network performance and the resilience and robustness as it is today and what customers expect us to deliver is via that manner. There are still some unresolved challenges that we would like to see in that area, and our key priority is to provide high-performing networks to our customers, either purpose-built or cloud.
Thanks, Pedro. Thanks for that answer and clearing up the question about XApps and RApps for us. Leads us to our next viewer question here. And the question is, how important is the ability for CSPs, for network operators, to build RApps? Will CSPs build them themselves, or will they look to network vendors or new entrants to build RApps for them? Neil, as an operator yourself, let me ask you this one first.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think all of the above, really. I think, yeah, we'll build our own. In fact, we have some in our lab up at Astral Park today that we've created. We're working with partners on apps, and we expect, new apps to come from startups, from existing companies. We really expect a kind of a wide range. I don't think it'll be like the Apple app store, but we expect to see a lot of different applications. And I think, one of the challenges we've got in this open world is how do we interop and test them? Every app is going to require a testing regime to make sure when we deploy it, it doesn't cause chaos on the network. And I think the great thing of these apps coming along at the same time as cloud native, we can actually use the cloud native technology to deploy this in a safe way without, putting the risk at the rest of the network. Wind up the app, see how it works, and then wind it down within a safe sand pit. But I think we'll see them coming from everywhere. I think operators will write them. I think you might see specialist technology partners writing them because they've got a machine or a robot that needs a special type of connectivity. We've just opened up a robotics lab at Astral Park, we announced last week, and we can see where there's specific types of health and safety requirements that might mean you want to have potentially an app that is talking or taking data from a robot and ensuring that it's not doing anything that might be dangerous or might hurt somebody. So everywhere is where I think we're going to see them coming from.
Thank you, Neil. James, you'd like to come in on this question about where we might see RApps being developed and originated?
Yeah, so just some feedback from some other operators that I talked to. They're all interested in the idea, but when I asked some pretty large ones, would they probably develop RApps themselves, they said no. They said that they would probably write a description of what they wanted the application to do, and then they would go out to tender and get some developers to actually write it for themselves. But there's also a sort of halfway house between writing your own RApp from scratch in C or Python or whatever, and just tweaking the existing apps that you'd get from your non-real-time RIC supplier, for example. And that's these sort of low-code solutions. So what you have today with many centralized SOM platforms is the ability to sort of play around with applications and building blocks to create new use cases. So you're not writing necessarily script and code, but you are able to create new use cases that are specific to you as an operator and solve particular problems that you have. Those sort of low-code solutions could be a useful complement to an SDK where you get into the nitty-gritty of writing an application from scratch.
Oh, that's interesting. Thanks for that, James. And again, the next question we've got in is also on the subject of RApps. And the question is, will RApps from other telecommunications vendors run on the Ericsson RIC? Pio, I think this might be a good one for you.
Yes, it's an interesting question, but yes, we are not excluding anyone. As we said, we are supporting an open interface. We'll support an SDK. So yes, we could see other vendors are apps running on our SMO platform. Again, the importance for us is to ensure that we are relevant to our customers, providing that openness and provide automation capabilities end to end.
Sure, thank you, Pio. Now let's have a look down at what's coming in, and question here. Do operators need or even want a service management and orchestration system right now? And are the O-RAN Alliance specs mature enough to make this work with other vendors' technology? Neil, could I possibly put that one to you first?
Yeah, I mean, look, we need something to manage the plethora of capabilities that the RAN needs. In fact, you could argue that this has been around for some time, but because of Open RAN, it's becoming more in your face, if you like. So we need something that's going to manage this infrastructure and going to allow us to position code with it, turn it up, turn it down, make it go left, make it go right. We definitely need something like that, and to coordinate with other parts of the network. Of course, it's not mature. We're kind of probably a year, maybe just a bit more than when we first started talking about this. So there's a long journey ahead of us, but you've got to start somewhere. So we can see right away some ability to use some of these applications to optimize the radio and hard to cover places, train stations, stadiums, and that's one of the use cases we're focused in. So I think orchestration, some people look at it as an overhead. I kind of look at it as an essential item of automating and making the network be the real-time sub-millisecond platform that we need the network to be.
Thank you for that, Neil. Right, unless there's any other comments on the need for open SMO solutions or what we're seeing, let's move on, because we have got quite a few questions coming in. Let me have a look at the next question we've got lined up from our audience here. What are the operational efficiencies of embracing SMO, and how does the intelligent automation platform empower network engineers to reduce the complexity in their networks? Who'd like to maybe take that question for us first? Pedro, are you able to take that one from an Ericsson point of view?
Absolutely. Yes, of course. Yeah, I think if we start to see the movements that we see in the industry, I mean, we have a large install base of purpose-built and highly optimized RAN deployed. We start to come with virtualized solutions. The complexity across the industry for the same scope, for the same purpose, is increasing. It's obvious that with new capabilities, new possibilities, there's also a few hurdles to overcome. And automation is becoming and will become key for us initially to be able to manage this complexity, lower that barrier, manage or bring the complexity down to a level where operations can manage it, and then use that as a step forward in terms of adding new capabilities. So with cloudification, with the multi-vendor paradigm, multi-technology, the complexity is increasing. We need automation, and that's the only way that we can actually be able to control what is happening in the networks.
Thanks, Pedro. And Pio?
Yeah, I can add one reflection to this. I mean, the introduction of cloudification is fairly new in the radio access, but it's not new to other parts of the network. So I think there are a lot of operational learnings from the cloud native introduction into the core parts of the network. And when we are looking at our intelligent automation platform, all of our experiences and know-how from our cloud native dual mode 5G core solution has gone into how we are now developing the intelligent automation platform. And I think that the same kind of learnings is also going to happen with our customers. The introduction of cloud native technology in other parts of the network will also facilitate this happening in the access networks.
Thanks, Pio. Neil, I think you're probably in agreement with Pio there about learnings that we're taking from our cloud native experience.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is all about leveraging the cloud technology. This always on, easy to upgrade, easy to change, easy to manage, easy to run. I mean, if you're not looking at orchestration and this type of space, not just in radio, but if you're not looking at it, you're late. You better rush, because it's really going to drive the future of telecommunications and the future of digital solutions. Not just in our space, but eventually our orchestrators will be talking to, other orchestrators to create the experiences and the capabilities that our customers are demanding. So I couldn't agree more, 100%.
Thank you, Neil. I think we've probably got time to put another viewer question into the program at this stage. Question is are there any additional RAPs other than the Ericsson ones available for this new Ericsson platform? So can Pio or Pedro answer the question about availability of additional apps? Pio?
Yeah, I can take that. As part of what we are now launching as well is also 2 other examples of external RAPs from Infovista and VIAVI. So that is to show the seriousness that we are having here with the SDK and being open and enabling the development of RAPs from third-party companies as well. So yes, we see these RAPs being available as well from these 2 companies initially, and we expect this to grow as we build our own library of RAPs from Ericsson, as well as a growing one from partners.
Thank you, Pio. Well, we need to move on. There's still a lot for us to get through, and we are going to be covering this aspect of partnerships and working with partners, especially on apps development. Thanks for now. We'll be back to continue our discussion very soon. There's a lot of interest and excitement around the RIC, the RAN Intelligent Controller, and its potential for creating new and diverse ecosystems of RAPs and developers. Now, earlier, TelecomTV's Ray Lemaitre spoke with several Ericsson executives, including Pedro, as he took a deeper dive into the world of network automation, artificial intelligence, and RAPs.
Network operators that are seeking to embrace more open, cloud-oriented architectures and benefit from the innovation that a broader ecosystem can deliver need a few key assurances that their technology partners can help them build, manage, run and evolve smart, dynamic and automated networks. And to find out more about this topic, I'm talking today with a trio of experts from Ericsson. Pedro Souza, who is the company's Strategic Product Manager for Cloud RAN, Minoru Saito, Portfolio Manager for Network Design and Optimization in the Business Area Managed Services, and Gustavo Highlander, Strategic Product Manager for Self-Organizing Networks, or SON. So, welcome everybody. Pedro, let's start with you. How is network automation addressing the increasing challenges of disaggregated radio access networks?
Absolutely. I mean, we see some industry movements coming from ORAN. We do see that with the path of virtualization, what is happening now in the RAN domain, there is an increase of complexity, there is a split of domains, and this is something that, of course, requires automation.
Okay, and why is Cloud RAN more complex than traditional RAN?
Okay, so there are a few factors that are starting to come into play. On one side, we in Cloud RAN have decided to go for a cloud native architecture. With that, of course, it means that there is the introduction of separation when it comes to the hardware domain and the application domain. And then together with that, cloud itself also brings some changes to what operators are used to, especially in the operations area. You do now have different domains that you need to monitor, you need to manage. needs to take into account on how this works as an entire system. But it also brings some new benefits when it comes to the possibilities that you can have now that before were a bit more challenging. We do have the possibility to flesh out some of the key benefits and key characteristics of cloud native, and especially when we start looking more into centralized deployments of RAN, we can see that there's some gains not only in pooling but also the dynamic behaviors we can have to meet the demands from the RAN that have always been dynamic. So it's time now also to adapt a RAN to be more dynamic and less static than before.
So what can actually be done to address this complexity?
Focus on automation. This is the key point, is automation, automation, automation. We must control the increase of complexity by keeping at least at the same level and aiming at reducing this increase to operators in order for them to focus more on what really matters to them, is get your focus, get your resources on revenue generating activities. There's also a few aspects when it comes to adapting to these dynamic behaviors, of course. Before we used to do everything a bit more in a programmatic way. Now with AI and ML, it allows us to have the capability to be able to adapt to the different local conditions of the RAN deployments. Then, of course, all of this is also benefiting from having this platform that we're introducing, and the ability of having air apps to improve what can be extracted from the RAN itself.
And what do you think are going to be the next steps for network automation?
We do want to focus, to have a strong focus initially on the operational management of a cloud-based solution. This implies that we will have, of course, more applications that will automate typical operation of the network, but also bring some of the new capabilities that we have connected and that are inherent to a cloud architecture. Namely, if we look at the aspects we can automate and utilize on lifecycle management, and similarly on the way we can do some radio automation.
Okay, great. Well, a really interesting area of development there. Thanks very much, Pedro. Now, let's come to you, Minoru. Now, Pedro mentioned AI and ML. Why and how does artificial intelligence and machine learning play a key role in network automation? And do you have any proof points?
So traditionally, operator has to use the rule-based automation. Okay, so that has a kind of limitation in terms of speed, scale, and accuracy. However, together with introduction of AI and machine learning, those technologies can easily address those challenges. So one of our proof points is that our existing solution, it's called performance diagnostics, which is now being deployed over 9 million cells in worldwide. And it's truly multi-vendor solution. Half of them, 9 million, is actually multi-vendor run. In the past, if I talk about manual way of analyzing a network, one engineer could take like 20 minutes to analyze one cell. However, together with our solution, the solution can analyze 1 million cells just in 30 minutes. So this is kind of super efficient way of analyzing the network.
Yeah, that's an absolutely massive advance there. Are there any particular challenges when developing AI and ML based use cases?
So one of the challenges I would like to highlight is that about lifecycle management of AI based automation. So the moment we develop AI model, it starts kind of degrading because network is always changing. New devices coming, new services launched. So network trend continue changing, meaning that our AI model's validity is questioned. In Ericsson, we are managing so many networks in the worldwide, and that's serving more than 1 billion subscribers.
Yes, a lot of global experience there. Now, why is multi-vendor support key to addressing the upcoming challenges in network automation?
Together with our launch of SMO, Ericsson Intelligent RAN Automation, and our apps, now operator can focus on use case. So that means having common use case across multi-RAN vendor, for example, can reduce the complexity for operator to operate their network day to day. I think one clear conclusion from our joint research with Omdia is that so many operators look for a common platform to handle multi-vendor RAN network. So we believe that launch of SMO together with our apps definitely speed up the introduction of common use case into the multi-vendor network, which is the majority of operators' network today.
Gustavo, in what way will Ericsson's intelligent automation platform facilitate the delivery of automation use cases?
It is a common platform that is going to be used across all the Ericsson business units to deliver the automation use cases. On top of a modular platform that is cloud-based and microservices-based that can deliver the automation capabilities in a much more efficient way. Automation is not a new word that has been there for some time and traditionally has been delivered in many different ways, but always on a silo base, if I may say, like individual automation functions being delivered with different pieces of software and different platforms. By having this common automation platform, which opening and standard interfaces, we can essentially increase the efficiency of delivering those use cases significantly.
Okay, thank you. And how will the evolution towards the intelligent automation platform and its service management and orchestration capabilities change the way that automation functions interact?
If we consider that we envision a future in which we will see like an ecosystem of automation applications or apps in the ORAN terminology that will be coming from different sources. So the way those applications interact has to change, because it is possible or will be possible that we will have multiple automation functions that will be modifying same or very similar or related parameters in the network. So we need to find a way that those functions can coexist and actually not degrading the network performance, but actually working together to improve the network performance. I mean, that coordination of the automation functions, it is a key role that is not possible to achieve if you have different applications running independently on different software platforms. So by having this coordination of some functions or application functions in the platform, we can actually build that ecosystem of functions in which we can decide, for example, what will be the priority of certain functions to implement certain changes on a network node, depending on the conditions, on the network conditions, on the circumstances. For example, it would be a special event, or in case of a network outage, some functions can take precedence over the other. And also to avoid that you will have multiple functions implementing or contradicting changes in the same network nodes.
Okay, great. So really helpful in terms of day-to-day operations. But in what way will the intelligent automation platform enable innovation? What particular tools does it have for that?
The intelligent automation platform comes with an SDK, a software development kit that allows our customer, our partners, or third party to basically, our service organization, to basically develop their own functions, automation functions, making use of all the data, all the multi-vendor data that is actually mediated and stored in the platform. To build functions that really work across all the networks, regardless of the technology.
Thank you very much, Gustavo, and thanks to all three of you. Now, let's just come to a couple of questions that have come from the TelecomTV community. It sounds as if that Ericsson has plans to launch a very diverse set of RAPs. Is there a conflict here between Ericsson's RAPs and those developed by CSPs or third-party developers? Gustavo, let's come to you on this.
This is an open platform, and we provide the mechanism and the interfaces and APIs for anyone else to actually bring their RAPs. But those RAPs need to work in coordination with the existing functions, so that we avoid conflicts or contradicting effects of the different RAPs that are working on the same network nodes. So it is all providing an open environment, but with the level of coordination and orchestration between those functions.
And might that lead to overlaps, perhaps multiple companies developing the same applications and creating competition amongst developers? Pedro, maybe we can come to you first on this.
This is how innovation gets going into the industry. We need to be able to foster this innovation, and we will have applications that can be in the realm of network deployment, network optimization, network healing. But also a lot more possibilities come. We do want to foster innovation, and if we can bring a benefit to the table and create a larger ecosystem where everyone can have a say, we will do so.
Okay, excellent, thanks. And Gustavo, I mean, is this the kind of sort of innovation drivers that you're looking for from this platform, that you'll get multiple companies developing lots of different and maybe sometimes overlapping applications?
In Ericsson, we have started already our journey to migrate our legacy solutions into the automation platform, and we see that there will be competition. This competition is welcome, where we can actually capture more innovations, and we see this is the way we will further develop the platform in sense, and will make ourselves be better in the future with our own applications.
So all of this is absolutely key to the development and innovation for communications service providers and, of course, their customers and developers. So Pedro, Minoru, Gustavo, thanks very much for joining us today and sharing your insights. Thank you.
Of course, partnerships are also essential to success in the telecoms ecosystem. I spoke with two of Ericsson's partners in this field, Infovista and VIAVI. I first asked Jan Lehto, CTO at Infovista, about his thoughts on the new Ericsson SMO initiative and its relevance to our industry.
Well, we believe this initiative is very much aligned with market expectations. Networks are moving to the cloud, and so are the management functions. And with 5G networks becoming more complex, denser, with network slicing requiring new levels of automation, the Open RAN SMO concept makes a lot of sense. Open RAN was well recognized as being a catalyst for innovation. Now it's getting recognized for being a catalyst for automation as well as RIC, or non-real-time. RIC in particular goes beyond older concepts such as DSAN. And we believe that Ericsson's initiative to leverage not only SMO but also the R1 interface to enable innovation further by developing an RAP ecosystem is a very strong move, which is highly relevant to our industry.
I also asked Jan how important he believes cloud solutions are for the deployment of 5G, Open RAN and purpose-built RAN to address new customer challenges.
So cloud is no longer an option, but a necessity. Networks require to be very agile, horizontally scalable, self-adapting to varying demand, while delivering a low TCO and enabling a maximum of automation. This can only be achieved in the cloud. Furthermore, we believe the industry innovation pace will go higher and higher, and Open RAN and cloud solutions are a catalyst to such innovation level. SMO can play a pivotal role if it becomes multi-vendor, focuses on automation and orchestration, and enables SDKs that the industry can leverage to build powerful RAPs. Non-real-time RIC can address a lot of use cases, including many beyond CSON and NDO that have never been considered so far. And cloud-based apps that scale are an ideal approach to delivering this promise.
Jan Lehto, their CTO of Infovista. Now, I also spoke with Deepak Shahani, VP and GM of the Service Enablement business at VIAVI Solutions. Given that the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform can cover the whole installed base of RAN infrastructure, not only the Open RAN portions, I asked Deepak what value this would bring to the market and what types of applications VIAVI will be able to offer.
VIAVI has been a member and supporter of the O-RAN Alliance since its inception, right? And we strongly believe in the joint industry work in this area. But let's remember that even if the Open RAN networks show tremendous growth over the next few years, the vast majority of the networks out there and for the foreseeable future are going to be purpose-built networks, right? So regardless, if purpose-built networks or RAN networks proliferate, Ericsson's market leadership in the RAN with their significant installed base allows the value of the SMO offering and RF to be realized by hundreds of operators in a very short period of time. Okay, so this is a great opportunity for VIAVI to deliver our high-value capabilities to many customers in many regions very quickly that has not been historically possible. So that's a big thing for us. Now, in terms of the applications, VIAVI will initially provide a specific geolocation app capability in the form of an SMO RAP. Okay, and this RAP is what we call a foundational RAP, in that it can be used in the Ericsson SMO by all of the RAPs to deliver subscriber-specific geolocation-enabled applications in the most accurate and the most efficient way possible. So a joint concrete offering, right, allows customers to leverage what we have along with other Ericsson and third-party RAPs. It lowers the overhead quite a bit in cost of managing in independent systems, integrating them, removing the need to kind of very quickly test them and deploy them at scale. Okay, so we of course seek to complement Ericsson's platform with our best-in-class capability. In the same way that the VIAVI team is also constantly innovating to provide new use cases, new capabilities around geolocation, and we plan to bundle that all in our RAP and offer it to Ericsson and third parties around in the SMO system. This journey is just getting started, and we will jointly work together with our customers and with Ericsson to further define exactly what is needed and at what time frame, and ensure that it can meet the challenges of today and tomorrow in the most efficient manner possible.
And you can watch the full-length versions of all these interviews, the Ericsson technical discussions and the partner interviews. Just follow the links on the website below this video. Okay, well, it's back to our panel for one final time today. We're still receiving questions from our audience, so let's try and get through as many as we can in the remaining about just over 15 minutes or so. So here's the first question we've just got in the past 5 minutes. Who's going to be responsible for the integration of new RAPs on the platform? As Neil mentioned earlier, making sure they don't cause chaos. Who's going to test, and are there standards around testing in place? Pio, perhaps I could ask you to have a go at answering this first question for us.
Yes. I'm not sure if there are standards, but integrating softwares between different companies is not a new thing in the industry. We have done that for many years, right? So but the benefit, of course, with the R1 open interface is that it provides an interoperability between the platform and the RAPs. So we believe that with the help of the SDK and very clear rules on how applications can be implemented, that integration effort is to the maximum extent minimized. So we see this now, I mean, with the first of our partners being able to implement our apps on top of our platform, and we will see many more moving in this direction as we see the ecosystem of our apps growing.
Thanks, Pia. And James, what insights have you got from the work you've done on looking at the integration of our apps?
Yeah, so what I heard from various operators were that there are initiatives, there's work that the Telecom Infra project is doing, for example, sort of sandboxes where different vendors can come together. But also, I think the onus is on the operators themselves to create sandbox environments where their potential RAP suppliers can come together and test how their applications will work in unison and how they'll work with the various RAN nodes that they're using. But it does depend, I guess, on the sophistication of the particular operator. Smaller operators might say, this is too complicated, we just want to outsource this activity to either a systems integrator or a sort of turnkey solution provider who will give us the non-real-time RIC, give us a menu of key RApps, and then work with other niche suppliers for any additional RApps we might want.
Thanks, James. Neil, is that something you do at BT now, create these sandbox environments?
Yeah, I mean, at Ashwell Park, we've got a whole kind of set of different lab environments to test different things, everything from energy usage through to functionality and security. I think for 175 years, BT's been integrating things and testing things and deploying things. It's just another step in that journey. However, I think I think it's in the software engineer's interest though to write code that's good, because what you don't want to do is be the guy who writes something that does cause chaos, because the chances are you'll get one chance at it. So look, it rarely happens that we have these sort of issues. Occasionally it tends to be minor things. There's lots of different ways that we can do integration testing, either through CI/CD or other continuous methods, or the old kind of test it every step mode, depending on what it is and what the impact is. So not anything that worries me a great deal, but from a skills point of view, as operators, does mean we probably need a little bit more engineers who've got stronger software skills and software development life cycle skills as well.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. It's the skills again, isn't it? It comes back so often to the skills and needing the right skills. Now we've got another question in that's applicable to you, Neil. The question is, how can an operator prepare for operating Open RAN effectively in the future?
Get out there and do it. I mean, build it, play with it, break it, fix it, test it, learn it. Talk to your colleagues in industry, watch stuff on TelecomTV. I mean, really, the only way the best way to learn about what we do is by trying to do it, and that's, labs, in my mind, labs are helpful and they kind of get you going, but I really want to kind of get out into the field and try it, turn it on, see how it works, and take feedback and improve and improve and improve. So if you want to, I mean, there's loads of stuff to read on the internet, of course, but I always find that once you've kind of built something and got it up and running, particularly in this space, you kind of see how the different things interact in real worlds. And don't forget, Open RAN is very much it's about standard interfaces predominantly. There's a whole bunch of the way that different companies work, like how Ericsson works, how other suppliers and vendors work. And you've got to get to know how they've done their particular implementation. So whilst we see these open interfaces, which is fantastic, the rest of it isn't. The software is still very much owned by the person who developed it. So getting out and understanding how you deploy that and how it works and how you configure it and really important, how you automate it. Because automation is the future of our industry. Probably the biggest thing that we will do is to make that work in as I say, a sub-millisecond time frame for the use cases that our customers really want the network to help them with.
Thanks, Neil. Yeah, so don't prepare too long. Don't spend too much time preparing. Just get out there, try it out, go and do it. James, thoughts from you on this question?
Yeah, again, just some feedback from what other operators have been saying to us. Typically, they're starting trials or small deployments in low-risk areas, which is generally rural areas where there aren't many customers, and if something does go horribly wrong, it's not going to annoy too many people. And then from there, they're looking to use this Open RAN technology in sort of limited scenarios, like perhaps a football stadium or a sports arena, just for one particular application. And then gradually, as it matures, as it demonstrates its worth and cost effectiveness, and it achieves the same level of performance as traditional RAN, then they'll look to extend it into the broader network. That's the typical pattern that we're seeing other operators saying how they plan to roll it out.
Great, thanks, James. Now, next question, we're going on a slightly different take here for the next question. Pedro, I think this one could well be for you. Some of the RAPs mentioned are existing centralized SON applications. What impact will RAPs have on CSON?
That's a good point. I think what we're going to see here in the industry is a phased approach, of course. Initially, at in the first phase, to see, we've been hearing a lot about during this hour and a half about getting that common platform, getting a platform that again is multi-vendor, multi-technology. So we would expect to see in the first phase this porting and migration of existing platforms into this common platform, such as Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform is bringing to market. Then after the first initial step of consolidating into a common standardized platform with open interfaces, we would expect then for a new set of use cases in the automation to start to pop up even on the CSON case. Let's have in mind that today the optimization that we're doing is based on the reports we're getting from the RAN. Typically around every 15 minutes we get information of what has happened. Now we're bringing this platform that will allow us to have go down to the second level of information. So if you just think a bit and reflect what we were doing every time that we'll get reports every 15 minutes versus what we can do now or will be able to do by lowering that threshold to the second, I think we will be surprised in the next few coming months and years what will come up.
Thanks, Pedro. And Pio?
Yeah, I just want to add here, if we look at the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform and the proposition we're having with multi-technology, multi-vendor, I do think that the suite of CSON applications suits very well for initial use cases on top of our platform, because they are building on getting access to the full network and optimizing across the full network. So I think we will have very interesting engagements with our early customers in this specific area.
Great. Thank you, both of you, for the responses to that question. Now, the next viewer question we've got in refers to the interview we saw about 20 minutes ago or so with Minoru, where we heard about performance diagnostics. And Neil, I think this one could be one for you. How important for CSPs is the capability to automate analysis and diagnostics within cells?
Oh, it's hugely important. I mean, one cell could be serving hundreds of customers, and if it's if it's close to a major transportation point, it could be really performing. If it's not performing well, it could be really, be giving customers a poor service. And I think, actually, of all the innovations, the most helpful one has been to get more insight on that performance. And I think, again, this is where some of the technologies that we've talked about today can help us. And it's not, we still sometimes in our heads or our mental models are about reacting to a problem. I don't want to react to it. I want to predict it and get ahead of it. And I think this is where, this is one of the things I'm super excited about Open RAN and the RIC, both flavors of it, is how do I pull together other AI algorithms that are about predictive failures or about predictive issues, such that I've got people out there fixing it before anyone noticed that it's gone wrong. So I can't imagine a more important area. And again, I really stress this. My vision is to make the network so entwined with our lives and helping our lives be so much better that it's an essential thing for us to never have a network failure. Sounds like an extreme thing to say, and there's probably 1,000 engineers watching this saying, how the hell do you do that? But in my mind, it's essential if we're going to get all the benefits out of bringing networkification to the world, really.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Neil. Let me see. We're just looking at the time. We can get a couple of questions in, I think, before we have to close the show. Question here about the Ericsson SDK. A second aspect of the Ericsson SDK would be to understand its interoperability with regards to other vendors. Will applications developed on the Ericsson SDK work with other third-party SMOs? Probably one for two of our Ericsson guests. This one, Pedro, are you able to comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As part of what we mentioned a bit before here was, this SDK is not a proprietary SDK based on any proprietary interfaces. It is fully based on what is being specified in ORAN as the R1 interface. Then we would expect that as we see multi-vendor support and multi-technology support, there will always be a few additions or extensions to what is standardized that would be needed for those specific cases. But would it be possible to have interoperability between RAPs and platforms? Absolutely, yes. That's what we were pushing for, and that's why we together join in this journey with our partners.
Thanks, Pedro. And a question to Pio, hopefully. Why not use and contribute to OSS initiatives like ONAP? AT&T and Deutsche Telekom are contributing to those. So is it not possible to contribute to ONAP initiatives?
Yeah, well, thanks for that question, because there must be misinformation. I think that we have been quite active in ONAP and as well been a very active contributor to code. So we are trying to engage in those areas where we think we have an edge and where we see that there is an importance to bring the right software together for a solution that works across. One specific area we have been working on is around policy in the ONAP framework and contributing a lot of code there. So absolutely, we are engaging in that.
Thank you, Pio. Yes, and that's a good one for our audience member there. It's not a question of either or. There's two approaches going on, multiple approaches going on here. Now, I think we can squeeze in one more question before we go, and this has just this minute come in. Operators are behind. Operators getting right behind Open RAN, but do we think that they are really ready for the amount of new decisions and changes that are going to come with it? Neil, perhaps I could ask you that one first.
Look, we've gone through many changes in technology, from TDM to ATM to MPLS to IP to cloud. I mean, I challenge you to find an industry like ours that's changed so dramatically over the last 20-25 years. Have we got still things to learn? For sure we do, and learning is a key part of the journey. But I go back to my earlier point: the best way of learning is by doing, and really pushing out these solutions, and also working and collaborating to make sure that these solutions deliver what we need. I think there's a bit of a bandwagon on a few of the things going on because of world geopolitics, and that's on the one hand helpful, but on the other hand it can be not helpful too. So You know, everything around cloud and the underlying infrastructure, how, you know, your cloud infrastructure is architected from the silicon all the way through storage and memory and I/O, all the way across your data center network, how you then deploy that, what your shared fates are. I mean, things that we've been doing in telco for years. You know, you've got a kind of different set of things to kind of measure and manage. And the great thing is that there's a good community out there where we're sharing ideas and sharing knowledge, but we're also using it to innovate as well. So, you know, I think we're always ready for a new technology challenge. That's pretty much what we get out of bed every day for. And I think the momentum that you've seen in just in ORAN, if I just think of Open RAN in the last year, has been immense. But if I look at, you know, cloud native architectures, if I look at CDN, if I look at how we're delivering optical technology, you know, a huge number of different technologies that we as telecommunication operators have to work with, you know, I think we'll be fine. But if you want one of the most exciting careers that you can have in technology, come work for a telecommunications company, because no 2 days are the same.
So are not. Thank you, Neil. Pio, you know, change is the only constant in this industry of ours. Are we ready for the changes that are coming along now?
If we are ready for the changes, we better be ready for the changes. Will the changes happen overnight? No, it's a journey. It is a journey. And maybe also to complement what Neil was talking about, I do think that Ericsson, as a leader provider of cloud native core networks, we have a lot that we can also contribute here on this change journey. All our experiences from rolling out 5G networks around the globe, we can transfer that knowledge to service providers and help them on their transformational journey. So it's not only on the service provider side, it's also us as a vendor. We have a role here, making sure that the change is happening as fast as it needs to do.
Thank you, Pio. Well, that is a good point to bring our discussion to a close. That's all the time we have for the programme today. Neil and James, Pio and Pedro, thank you all very much for joining us today, sharing your views and answering a great selection of questions from our audience. Thank you. And that indeed brings to a close our TelecomTV Strategy Outlook programme on service management and orchestration, the keys to Open RAN success. Our thanks to Ericsson for partnering with us. And if you would like to receive more information about the Ericsson Intelligent Automation Platform, then follow the links in the accompanying text here on the website. The Omdia white paper is also available for download. Again, just follow the links. And don't forget to watch the first 2 programs in this series, as well as the full-length versions of many of the interviews featured in today's show. From all of us here, thank you very much for joining us today for our live broadcast and for sending us your questions. Until next time, goodbye for now.